Okay, let's think about this for a second. What if the most powerful tool you have to fight climate change isn't your car, but actually your refrigerator? It sounds kind of crazy, right? But today, we're going to dive into this really powerful link between what's on our plates and the health of our planet. Turns out, our kitchens might just hold a huge key to a more sustainable future. And this quote from Dr. Stortelen, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? When you hear about these huge planetary emergencies and you see pictures of melting ice caps, it is so easy to feel completely powerless. I mean, the problem feels so massive that you start to think, what can I possibly do? It's like our little choices are just a tiny drop in this huge, rapidly warming ocean. But what if one of the most significant things we can do doesn't involve buying an electric car or putting solar panels on the roof? What if it's really just about shifting what we choose to eat? That's the big, powerful question we're going to unpack right now. Okay, so first things first. Before we get to the solutions, we really need to understand what's at stake here. Let's just quickly ground ourselves in the science of what's actually happening to our planet. And look, this stuff isn't some far-off prediction anymore. It's happening right now. Global temperatures are rising, and that's causing these huge, dramatic changes. We're talking melting ice sheets, more intense storms, you name it. And all these shifts, they're putting an incredible amount of pressure on our ecosystems. The very systems that keep us all alive. So at the heart of all this is global warming. And to put it really simply, our human activities have pumped a ton of greenhouse gases up into the atmosphere. And what happens is these gases basically act like a giant blanket, wrapping around the Earth, trapping heat, and making the whole planet's temperature rise. And it's happening at a pretty alarming rate. And when you look at the data, you see this terrifying acceleration. I mean, get this. According to NOAA, the speed at which the temperature has been rising since 1981 is more than double the rate it was rising before then. That is just an incredible spike in a super short amount of time, geologically speaking. And just let this one sink in for a minute. 9 of the 10 warmest years ever recorded have happened since 2005. 9 out of 10. This isn't some problem for our grandkids to worry about. It is happening right now in our lifetimes. All right, so we've established the planet is warming up, and it's because of us. But when you picture what's causing it, what comes to mind? Probably big factory smokestacks, right? Or cars on the highway. Well, the truth is, one of the biggest culprits is, well, it's a lot closer to home than you might think. And here it is. This number is a real game changer. A staggering 26%. Let that sink in. More than a quarter of all human-caused greenhouse gas emissions come directly from our global food system. And that's the whole shebang, from clearing forests for farms to the fertilizers, all the way to the food arriving on your plate. So the next logical question is, where is that 26% actually coming from? Well, when you start to break it down, a very clear picture emerges. Get this. More than half of all those food emissions, a full 53%, come from just one thing: raising animals for food. We're talking livestock and fisheries. So that leads us to the really big question, right? Why? Why does this one category have such a massive impact? Let's unpack the carbon footprint of the food we eat. Not all foods are created equal when it comes to their carbon footprint. Not even close. And inside that big livestock category, one animal stands way, way out from the rest. Cattle. They're by far the biggest source, responsible for something like 62% of livestock emissions. And it's not just the methane, which is a super potent greenhouse gas they, burp out. It's also the absolutely massive amount of land needed for them to graze on, which often means clearing away vital forests. And why does this huge system exist? Well, it's to meet an equally huge demand. To put this into perspective for you, the average American ate 222 pounds of meat and poultry back in 2018. 222 pounds! That massive level of consumption is exactly what drives this whole resource-hungry machine. The deforestation, the water use, the emissions, all of it. Okay, so that's the problem. And yeah, it's big, it's complex, I get it. But here's the really good news. Once you understand the problem this clearly, the solution starts to become pretty obvious too. So let's shift gears and talk about a new way to eat. This is really where the story pivots from being kind of daunting to being really hopeful. See, the whole idea of a low-carbon diet isn't about depriving yourself of things, not at all. It's about making more conscious choices. And the best part? It's a super powerful solution that every single one of us can start using, like today, right in our own kitchens. And this quote, this is exactly the mindset we need to have. It is not about one person being perfectly climate friendly all the time. It's about millions of us just making slightly better choices. That's what creates the ripple effect that grows into a huge wave of change. Your choices really, really matter because you're part of that collective effort. So, what does this actually look like on your plate? Well, a low-carbon diet is all about being rich in plants. We're talking delicious fruits, vegetables, beans, whole grains. It's about moving meat from being the star of the show to maybe being a side player, or maybe it doesn't get a role at all. But notice what else is on this list. It's about flavor, diversity, and cutting down on food waste. This is a diet of abundance, not a diet of restriction. All right, let's bring this all home now. Let's focus on the incredible and maybe unexpected power that each of us holds every single time we sit down to eat. And really, this is the choice we face. On one side, you have this massive industrial system that's totally dependent on fossil fuels just to meet our high demand for meat. And on the other side, you have a vibrant, delicious, and seriously powerful alternative. Every meal, every single snack is a vote for one of these systems. Which brings us right back to where we started. The challenge is absolutely huge, and we all share it. But so is the power to solve it. This isn't about pointing fingers or feeling guilty. It's about recognizing our shared responsibility and, more importantly, our shared opportunity to build a healthier future for us and for the planet. So, I'm going to leave you with this one question to think about. Every single bite we take is an agricultural act, it's an ecological act, it is a vote for the kind of world we want to live in. So the question is, what will your next meal be a vote for?